Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Coates?
Here.
Commissioner Laird? Commissioner Laird?
Here.
Commissioner Milne?
Here.
Commissioner Nicolason?
Here.
Chairman North?
Here. This time, Wallace, would you mind coming up and leading us in a word of prayer? Stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. At this time, I would entertain a motion for chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I would make a motion to elect Jim Milne to chair.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any others? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
At this time, we'd entertain a motion for vice chair.
I would make a motion to elect as vice chair Casey Coates.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Nicolason, seconded by Commissioner Milt. Any other elections? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks, guys. Let's play musical chairs.
No, it's like.
Sure.
What's this?
I don't know what we were thinking, right? Wanna- Oh, All righty. Hold on. Sorry. Don't have my agenda up. Sorry, folks. It's logged in on me and I don't remember what my password is. I know. We'll have it here in a second. squirrels are working. So. Alrighty, new year. uh, Appreciate the vote of confidence from the other county commissioners. Thank you. Try to do my best. Casey, I'll be leaning on you quite a bit, so get ready. But yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. We'll try to have a really good year and do the county's business and yeah, have a good time and relax and not stress too much this year, right? Be a good thing. So, with that, Josh, if you want to come up and we'll hear what you have to say about the Central Region Director for the Business Council. Are you on? He's online, right?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, hi, this is Josh Durrell. I'm online. I do have,
Just a minute. Kind of quiet. Okay, give her a shot.
Mr. Chairman, my regional director, Drew Dietrich, is in the room as well, I believe. But yeah, I figured we would talk a little bit about the economy. You said that you were trying to hopefully make this year less stressful. Is that what you were going with?
That's
and
what
you
I'm
started
going
out
with,
the
but
economy.
you know, yeah.
It's a
We'll see
an
how that
interesting
plays
take.
out.
Yeah.
Sir, do you want to come up in case you need to talk or anything? Yeah, either one. Or you want to sit back there? No limelight? Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Well, thank you, commissioners, for giving us a few minutes here. I want to be mindful of time, and make sure that we've got, maybe till 3, I think is the schedule that I had for all of you. My name is Josh Durrell. I'm the CEO of the Wyoming Business Council, and over the last, since 1998, we've actually been a state agency to really help develop the economy in Wyoming and help us, really solve some of the big challenges that Wyoming has, being a rural state, being a very resource dependent state. And all of those things are beautiful, and they're good. They're why a lot of us live in Wyoming. And but at the same time, we have a pretty big challenging thing ahead of us with all of our youth out migration and things like that. But I thought I might just take a quick little step back in time and talk to you about 1975. Maybe many of you weren't alive then. I was. I have plenty of gray hair to show for it. But my parents came to Wyoming because of the coal mines in Hanna, Wyoming. I grew up in Rawlins, the son of a coal miner, and my whole life up until about 4th grade, I wanted to run a drag line. Raise your hand if you've seen a drag line up close. Right. Yeah, maybe one of the most incredible machines on the planet in my book still. Something that I wanted to do ever since I was a little kid. And then in about 1984, my dad was laid off from the mines. And then we spent a few years, it was pretty challenging. But by the time I was in 7th grade or so, he was back out at the mines, and he finished his career at the mines in Hanna. And all of you might know that there aren't any coal mines in Hanna anymore, are there? No, I'm from Carbon County, and while there are other forms of carbon there, the stuff that they used to take out of Hanna and Elk Mountain, that stuff doesn't get mined anymore. And so, I've been lucky enough in my whole career to stay in Wyoming, what a lot of people can't do. I've been fortunate enough to have a number of different jobs in Wyoming in the private business world and now in government. And it's actually my entire purpose is to try to stay in Wyoming my entire career, probably a lot like many of you. And in the Wyoming Business Council, that's really our job, is to make that dream possible for more Wyomingites, because in Wyoming today, more people who are born in Wyoming leave our state and have to stay away than any other state in the nation. 2 out of every 3 people born in Wyoming will leave Wyoming by the time they're in their mid-20s, and they don't come back. And so what I wanted to talk with all of you about a little bit today is the state of the economy, some things that are going well, some things that are maybe challenged a little bit. But I think really more than anything, I kind of wanted to listen to all of you rather than talk at you with data. And I've got plenty of data and charts. If you wanted to take a little afternoon nap while I do that, I'm more than happy to show them and give you a break. But I kind of thought I might turn it around and say, there are some things that are going really, really well. We've done a lot in Natrona County over the last few years, and we hope to do more with the Business Council to help unlock growth. Natrona County has a couple projects that you all know about that the Business Council was part of, with the water and sewer line in Evansville to unlock that really big industrial park that Mesa is building just a beautiful building in, and some water and sewer up around what some people call the halo over there by the sports ranch and the Ford Center. And then, potentially, depending on how things go in Mills there with the construction of a building for Austin Engineering, those are all projects that are going on and that we were part of. But what I love about working in Natrona County is that we're not the major player there. We're just sort of like the unlocker. And so I wanted to talk with all of you a little bit about, what are some potential other projects that are happening? What are some things that you see in your county that you think could unlock economic growth? And how could we help? And more than anything, so I was kind of hoping we could maybe spend the last 15 minutes or so. Again, if you want to look at data, I've got plenty. But I thought we might just engage in a discussion and kind of see what you're seeing in the world and how we might be able to help. Mr. Chairman, does that sound acceptable to you?
No, that's fine. I'd love to have a conversation, see where you guys are going to help us and we can help you.
Well, I think maybe, Mr. Chairman, then if it's all right with you, what are some of the barriers to growth that you see in Natrona County right now?
That's a good question, Peter.
Maybe
Thank
the entire commission,
Mr. Chairman, Josh, this is Peter Nicolason. I consistently hear from developers that we have an electrical power bottleneck, and it's been super frustrating for a lot of these developers who see a lot of flexibility on the regulated utility operating out of Laramie County. Ours is Rocky Mountain Power, theirs is Black Hills. So I don't know if it's something that your organization can assist with, but that's certainly one of the barriers to development for a variety of industrial, light industrial, and commercial projects.
Yeah, thank you. And if I might, Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Nicolason, if I might just say, you're absolutely right. And what you're experiencing is very similar to many places in the state. Much of the state has that very same barrier. If you want to know the truth, that is maybe one of the most complicated and convoluted industries. Regulated utilities is a tough one. But we are working with the Energy Authority, and I know that with folks like Rocky Mountain Power, to try to understand the real barriers there and to see if we can help them see that we're a good place to invest. It also has the Public Service Commission involved. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. That is definitely a challenge we see. Thank you.
So one of the concerns I have is, and we had some people here talking about earlier, is employees. It doesn't seem like the workforce is here to capture all the jobs that may potentially be out there. and or qualified to be taking those jobs. Do you have any, are you working with any side of that part of the equation, or just what are we looking at there? What do you see?
Yeah. So, Mr. Chairman, what you're talking about with workforce availability and with, the a fit between the workforce and the jobs maybe, or even just availability, period. That's probably the number one concern that people will say. When you talk to a business, they'll say, well, workforce is my challenge. If I had more workforce, I could probably grow my business. And so, that's like the first response, and I think it's a good one to have, to understand. But what we would like to do is take it a couple levels deeper and say, well, what is it that is not, attracting workforce, or what is it that makes it so the workforce has to leave, or, there's not a fit. And some of the challenges that we've seen in communities in Wyoming is that the housing challenges that Wyoming communities face in building new housing and affordable housing makes it harder for people to live here. And it raises the cost of living so that they maybe they can't, or they've got to rent all the time. And so housing is a challenge that some communities are really taking a hard look at, and they're looking at the regulatory burden that they might have, like the zoning laws, the minimum lot sizes, the setbacks. Are they allowing, are they allowing those second homes on a property, things like that, so that they can alleviate that housing challenge. That generally comes back to two things: infrastructure, so water, sewer, curb and gutter, things like that, shared infrastructure for the city and being able to pay for it, or the communities, and that regulatory burden that developers face.
Right. So I can't speak for everybody, but recently I've been going through a hiring frenzy almost for my company, and honestly, we're bringing people in from out of state because there just wasn't anybody in state for it.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, I think that you're not alone there. And what I will say is that Casper has a pretty you. I was talking to a friend of mine who happens to be in Casper. He said, Casper doesn't look like it did when I was in high school. Casper, if you come to Casper, maybe even in the last decade or so, it's a different place. And I'll also tell you, my daughter, who just graduated from college last May, she did a leadership academy at the university, and she went to Casper. And she's like, Dad, I've been to Casper a million times. I had no idea it was this cool. I'd always just been inside the gym, you know. And I said, yeah, it's changed a lot. And so, but that outside influence or outside employees, that's a good thing. If people that are coming from outside see our communities as attractive, it also means it's attractive to people who are born here. And I think that that's a good sign. And I've always over the last few years, I've really paid attention to the things that Casper's doing to revitalize the downtown, to make sure that it's got the amenities, and you've always done a good job at that. Those are things that matter. And I think what the state would like to be able to do is sort of play that role that we've played a little bit over the last few years, is be that like unlocker of smaller projects that unlock bigger projects, because Casper has the potential to have those bigger projects. And how do we provide the water and sewer infrastructure, or maybe the last bit of a project, the last funding in a project, to unlock that growth? And I think that again, Natrona offers that opportunity for the state to play the right role of government.
Got anything? They're all silent.
Everything's going swimmingly.
Very much. Peter?
Mr. Chairman, Josh, you mentioned infrastructure. That is a barrier, and the Office of State Lands has, from a legislative appropriation, $5 million for Wyoming cities and towns to invest in projects for the development of affordable housing. And I hope that the legislature continues to do that. I am a member in a small development that we just can't get off the ground because the cost of infrastructure just so vastly outweigh what we could ever potentially recover from lot sales that it doesn't even come close to penciling out. So I don't know, again, what role your organization can play in infrastructure, and maybe it's almost a definitions thing. I know government shouldn't, you know, make a direct benefit to private developers. I get that. I've heard that. We heard that with, you know, here recently on one of the projects that did not move forward. But what I think we need to do is understand that without, you know, some sort of assistance, things aren't going to change. The materials costs, the subcontractor costs, they just don't even come close to making it feasible.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Nicholas, and if I might just sort of say, yeah, we're seeing that not just in Natrona County, but a lot of counties. And I think for us, you know, we do have a program that can provide water and sewer infrastructure as it has in the case of the Evansville project, the Halo project, and then in Mills at Austin. That same type of a program in many ways can be utilized to get infrastructure at least to the edge or to the perimeter of that development. And maybe even beyond. We have to look at what are the barriers to growth. And what I'll say is I wish that I could say that all of our communities were vastly different, because they in some ways they are. But I just got off the call with the Crook County commissioners, and guess what? The exact same challenge they had with infrastructure, with water and sewer and curb and gutter and things like that to housing developments, so that they could build some a developer could come in and build some houses and make it so that they're not doing it in South Dakota, they're doing it in Crook County. And so we're facing those challenges, and what we would like to do with our programs is make sure that they match up. And as you're probably able to kind of like see some of the information that we provided. There's another element. So in addition to obviously the funding to get those projects done, I think the more important elements that we provide are really kind of help in analyzing the economics of that, analyzing, is that truly a barrier to your growth, or are there other factors that could come in? Is it better for us to work on regulatory reform so that your codes and standards are similar to other places in the state or similar to other places in the country? I have heard of a particular electrical code that exists only in Casper, that doesn't exist even anywhere else in the state, and it causes some problems. And so, you know, are there ways beyond money that we could help? And so how do we help you with that, and how do we help provide that? The other thing you'll notice in those slides is we did a poll at the end of September. And we did a poll because we wanted to try to understand what is the public sentiment for growth. So my agency is all about economic growth. Much to the chagrin of some people, we are also about population growth, because as you mentioned, workforce is a challenge, and you have to have population to have workforce. And so in order to do that, we took a look and said, well, is that really a problem? Do people really not want Wyoming to grow? And so we did a poll at the end of September, and we found that by and large, people do want Wyoming to grow. And people are not that afraid of growth as we all think they are. In fact, if it meant more opportunities for their friends, neighbors, and family, they would be all for it. If it meant that they would have options in their life, they would take it. They might even suffer through a little bit more traffic and a little bit more urban sprawl in order to have that economic opportunity in Wyoming. And we did that with the hopes that as a commission like yours looks at decisions and looks at your communities and says, how do we grow, or do we have support for growth? That polling data can help you make some of those decisions, or at least maybe help break down some of those myths that we sometimes hold as facts in Wyoming, like, oh, nobody wants us to grow and things like that, and realize that there are people that do, and you might have support for some more of those efforts.
Sounds good. Does anybody have Any other questions or anything? Sir, I look forward to working with you hopefully through the year, and whatever we can do to help, or if you can help us, that'd be great. We're running a little bit over time, but do
Yep.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you and congratulations on your appointment as chairman. I'm sure
don't know
that,
about that, but-
it will not be relaxing and stress-free as you've thought, but you know, let me be the first to disappoint you.
Okay, I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank
Have a great day. Thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Bye-bye.
Did you need to add anything to it, or he was everything covered? Okay. Thank you. Sir, you ready?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I had some of the material that's in your packet, so I'm not going to read all of it just verbatim, but essentially what I'm hoping to propose to you guys is a concept around an emergency action plan and then a continuity of government plan specific to the government for Natrona County. We work with, emergency management, work with a lot of other agencies and organizations that promote, the same thing. And we've tried a few different ways to accomplish it through the years, and some recent events and previous events have kind of showed that we're still in need of ironing this type of planning out. We do have our emergency operations plan, but that's not quite the same thing. That's a little bigger picture, a little more oriented towards the public safety side of this, where this would be two documents that dovetail together with that and each other, but more specific to us as the government in Natrona County, and making sure that everything stays on track during any type of emergency that we might face up into major disasters or big things like that. What I'm proposing is kind of a 12-month process. What I'm hoping to solicit from you guys initially is one, support for that, and then two, aid in reaching out to a lot of our department heads, a lot of our other elected officials and folks that make up this government, and working together is going to be really key. I think that this isn't something I can write for many of the department heads. They're uniquely suited, appointed, elected, and the authorities within their particular programs and parts and pieces of what we do. And understanding what they need and how they need it is a big part of what we're looking for in this plan, and they're the best suited to do that. However, we in emergency management do plans like this quite often, so we'd love to facilitate that effort and work together with them to accomplish that. So I brought in that packet kind of how I think it would look great on paper to accomplish in 2026, but I do want to stress that this is kind of an initial year, and it's ongoing from there. We have to revisit it. Things change, programs change, threats change, hazards change, and we have to make sure that we're adapting to that in planning. And then also there's kind of that exercise and training component of it that is ongoing as well. As personnel change, as our plans change, we got to make sure that we're up to speed on that. We're matching, the realities that we're facing. I guess that's primarily it, and I'm sure there'll be some questions on that. Or
Michael,
happy
have you been working with the county's risk management or anything like that on this? I believe we have somewhat of a plan, don't we?
We have some parts and pieces of them. Started with Matt Kowalski and Ann, and I haven't seen a lot of the individual pieces yet, but I know there are some that are specific to departments, but they're not in any large plan as far as I've been tracking.
And would be working with hand in hand with the risk department, or What are
We'd
you
have to,
proposing?
every department's gonna have to be involved. This isn't gonna, hopefully we have some good, strong stuff we can launch from and use. And then, you know, we're not gonna try to duplicate that effort. If a department already has something, then that's where we wanna start, for sure.
Okay. So, reiterate in a nutshell, what are you proposing? What do we need to do? What are you proposing that we do?
Yep. So I would like to start first quarter, just get a planning team together. Hopefully we can get representation from each department, whether it's the head or not, or whoever would be the best suited. You know, we'll lean on those department heads to determine that. Get together and decide kind of the team and then the tempo for the rest of the year. From there, we would be looking at what are the essential functions in each department, and just identifying what we have to have to keep that department running, and then line those up against what we already do, which is our threat hazard analysis. We do this every year already, and make sure that we can identify between what we have to have running, some of the hazards that are in place, what are the threats between those two, and then making sure that we have the plans for the continuity side. The emergency action side, make sure that we have the plans in place to address whatever that gap is, or identify, maybe if we can't get things in motion immediately, we identify what we need to do or work on to do that. And then get that plan drafted, identify that in the third quarter, and hopefully bring it back to you guys for adoption. And that would mirror the same process we use.
You may have to pull that other mic over. Try it again.
Is that better? There we go.
So, say God forbid something does happen, right? This plan would give the departments and risk management and everybody the guidance of what to do, because you're going to be busy with other things,
Correct.
right? With trying to manage the rest of the county emergencies. Is that how this is supposed to lay out? Is this plan will give them guidance as to kind of a goal, here's what you kind of need to do?
Yeah, for actionable items, yes. And that would be the emergency action plan portion of it. The continuity plan would be a little different than that. It's a little bit bigger picture. It'd be what would we need to do to open back up within 12 hours of an emergency. That is where we have spent, in my experience with Matt Kowalski and some of the conversations since, that continuity portion is where we spent most of our time in planning effort. But the immediate actions, if this, then what, what are we going to do, is where we probably stand the most to identify some of our things that we can identify ahead of time. There would be some, kind of like emergency operations plan, where the expectation is this: well, who's supposed to execute that in the moment, and pre-identifying that would be a large portion of that emergency action plan portion.
Anybody have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, thanks for being here today. I don't have any concerns with how you've outlined your goals for the year in the memo. I wonder a couple things. I think logistics, if you're talking about every department and every elected official, I see the sheriff is here and our county clerk is here, assessor, treasurer, etc. It's a pretty big group, and I think it can get unwieldy when we add all the different county departments too. So I'm not sure exactly what you're thinking, and at least for maybe the first month, is kind of a scoping side, and everybody can come or send you an email or whatever, but then narrow it down to a small group of critical folks. And I think, I think the sheriff might be on that list or his designee, maybe our clerk or her designee, to really get some of the you might have to do most of the heavy lifting, but this task force or whatever you have of 5 folks, maybe, you don't want too big of a group, can kind of keep giving you counsel on, hey, don't forget about this, or if you talk to those folks over there at the city of Casper, the city of Mills, and, because you don't want to reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. There's got to be some coordination. I'm kind of getting the sense that we don't have an emergency action plan or the continuity of government plan. Is that accurate as a county?
We have a set of flip charts that we've distributed. They were produced by our department, our emergency management division of the sheriff's office. We did produce those 2019, 2020-ish. I don't know how that date off the top of my head. And then individual departments have done some planning within their department, and that just kind of varies department to department. But there is not, like our EOP, which is in existence already, there's not an assembled large document for either of those.
Yeah, I wasn't on this commission during COVID. I know others were. But, if stuff really hits the fan and we don't have a plan, I don't think this board's doing its job. So I think we need to support you. I think we need to encourage you. I think we need to ask that kind of high level questions. But what can we do right now other than give you kind of a thumbs up on, implement the outlined memo?
Yeah, I think that's fair. The logistics lift is daunting. I'm not gonna lie. We do have a large county government. We do have a lot of departments and a lot of unique needs and desires, and from each of those elected and appointed officials, and trying to make sure that they're supported and their authorities can continue, I think is what we owe, our populace for sure. So I'm willing to work as, on this plan. We do this every year in some form with our EOP. We have large LEPC, we have large THIRA meetings. These are kind of things that we're accustomed to. It would be logistically, hopefully working a lot of this kind of virtually via email, kind of imploring, some of our technology to kind of reach out and quiz our department heads what do they need to try to make that as efficient as possible. And we'll push, as hard as we can to keep that efficiency and keep it as least burdening as possible, but getting all of that input, because that will be critical. There's too many specialty departments and too many uniquenesses that we need to navigate. They're going to be the best suited to tell us and explain what they want and what they need.
Commissioner North.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for coming in, Michael. I think the power outage that we had was a prime example of things that we need to figure out how to adjust. And I think that's something that the entire county needs to work on. And I agree with you 100%. I do believe that this is something that we need to look at, because there's going to be other things that happen in the future and different scenarios and things like that. And if we have a set protocol, it sure makes it a lot easier to move through it than it does to try to come up with something at the last minute when something does happen. And so I do appreciate you coming in. I do believe this is something that the county needs to move forward with, that we need to have a plan, not just for personnel, but also for facilities and everything else, and identify what truly is our critical infrastructure and what we really need to preserve. I think that that's something that would be beneficial not only to the county, but also to the municipalities and the different groups around here. So, thank you.
think the power outage is a good example, the most recent example, of course, too. But you know, simple things like where does the auxiliary power run? That's not documented anywhere. There's some institutional knowledge, and some folks know, and some folks learned real quick where it was and where it wasn't. But having a place where that is documented, having a place where we know and understand, okay, we have a generator at this facility that has this much fuel, and then working to work with that facility's manager, whoever that is, to ensure that there is maintenance cycles and starting cycles and things like that that go into play, all the way up to all the other things that we've kind of talked about, portable generators, things like pre-identifying things like that is really where that emergency action plan would be a very helpful tool.
Michael, I know that we're looking at the county's aspect of this right now, but have you reached out to the municipalities? I know there was some stuff, the generators started up and people thought things were on fire and everything else because they didn't have a regular duty cycle where they were operational on a regular basis and stuff like that. And I think that's something that is important, to make sure that it's not just the county, but everybody as a whole works together on this. I mean, similar to what we had during COVID when we got together at the, and looked at the different groups and who was going to do what and how they were going to do it to accomplish a common goal. And I think that's important.
Yeah, I've worked primarily since the power outage, talking with dispatch, and we've worked really closely with dispatch for years, and that's up and to include some of our critical infrastructure sites like our public safety communication system sites and things like that. So we have worked with those entities. As far as municipalities go, it strictly is whether or not they want to participate or not. I'm pursuing the county because it's our home. It's emergency management's home. So I would love to take something that and help facilitate and allow plagiarization as much as possible from whatever we do create for any municipality that would be open to it.
Mr. Chairman, I would think that the municipalities and the towns, don't forget Midwest and Edgerton, that they would welcome dialogue, and I think they'd jump at the opportunity to engage, to assist you in any way they can, so that there's better coordination. So that if a generator or the power goes down, a couple buildings are dark and people get to go home early, okay, fine. I'm talking about the big stuff that impacts the community for days. I don't know. I'm surprised at what appears to me to be a lack of a written master document that, whether it's pandemic, COVID, whether it's a bunch of stuff falls out of the sky or a bunch of people show up with, things that aren't legal or, so anyway, we just need to make as much progress as we can as quickly as we can on it. Thank you.
I do think the emergency operations plan, which is a plan we've maintained for years and we do, and you guys accept it. I want to say about every 2 years or so it's presented for readoption, and it's adopted by each of the individual municipalities. Is a good vehicle for a lot of that, but that is more public safety oriented, where this would be more operations oriented for the government of Natrona County or the individual municipalities. So this is a little narrower of a scope and more specific to how we operate, just like the hospital has their version of emergency action plan, individual schools, the school district, they have their versions of the emergency action plans. This is a little bit narrower.
Michael, thanks. I don't think you're going to find any resistance on the commission. I'm not picking any up to go forth and conquer on this. I think it's entirely appropriate for emergency management in the county. You guys do a fantastic job. You guys lead the way, set the standard. Do it for us. If the municipalities want to copy what you do or want to tag along, that's fine. But you guys do a fantastic job, and I look forward to seeing what you guys can produce.
Michael, we're starting to run out of time again. I appreciate your time and coming to us with this. I would encourage you to make sure you work with risk management, with legal, and with the directors and the elected officials, because without them, their support, it doesn't go too far.
Agreed.
So, thank you very much. Sabrina?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, and thank you for allowing me to be the first to ask the most unpopular question of the year. I am asking for a budget amendment increase for a position for an associate planner. We currently have a planning technician. Our planning technician left. But we have been able to organize our department to be more efficient, to be in need of an associate planner. We had this position, last I knew around 2020 maybe, was the last time the application was updated. So it's been a few years since we've had this position. But we are in need of this again because, like I said, we've organized our department to be efficient enough that that planning technician is not really where we're at anymore. My ask is for an annual increase of $10,000 for this position. It would be an increase with the benefits of around $11,334. With this being halfway through our fiscal year, the ask for the remainder of this year would be $5,000. With benefits, that would be approximately $5,667. Our department has been able to be organized more along the lines of having our new zoning resolution and being able to read that more efficiently. That's been one of the great things that we've been able to do. And I'll stand for questions.
Peter?
Chairman,
Go ahead.
my thinking is that this is a pretty easy ask, although with the difficulty in hiring in general, would it be prudent to leave open both positions? We agree to fund the associate planner if necessary, but if you find a great tech that maybe can serve in a greater capacity than what you've been accustomed to, I don't know, you just never know what might fall out of the sky. So my only thought is you see which candidates come through the door, unless you have somebody in mind already.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Nicolason, that would be acceptable, of course. I don't have anyone in mind. Our HR and I have discussed reaching out to Casper College and different entities, but until we have approval, I wasn't going to put a whole lot of time and effort into finding that person if it wasn't approved. I don't need both positions, so I just want to be real clear on that. I'm not asking for an extra position. We just want to make sure that we have one or the other. So if we did find a planning technician and someone that could grow into that associate planner position, to approve this budget would be great as well.
Commissioner Laird.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sabrina, just for clarity, what is the difference between an associate and a tech?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. North, a planning technician has kind of your basic mapping, basic planning kind of experience. They maybe have done usually have about a couple years of mapping experience, maybe not a lot of planning experience. The associate planner has sometimes they have a 4-year degree, sometimes they have 2 to 4 years experience. They just have that next level of experience and have that next level of knowledge that they can make the department run more efficient. It's like having a screwdriver when you need a drill. A screwdriver will get you there, but it's not real efficient. And I'm not asking for a DeWalt drill, and I'm not asking for a Black & Decker drill. I'm asking for like a Bosch, something kind of in the middle, not up here.
Well, that's a good way to put it. I agree, and that's one of those things that we have been pushing for years, as far as succession planning and everything else, so that we have people that can step up if in case you're out sick or you're on vacation or anything else. So I don't have any problem with it at all. I just wanted that for clarification. I do think that this is a good option that we have, and hopefully we can find somebody relatively soon, so you aren't having to work quite as much. So.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, there might be someone internal that is already in this building that could fall into this position. I don't know that. I wouldn't, pass them up for an interview if there's somebody who was interested. I don't know yet because I wanted to come to you all first and find out where we're at on this, and then we'll go from there.
All right, thanks. I do support it.
So, Tracy, as far as budget amendment or anything, we don't have a person to hire yet or anything like that. Do we want to wait until, or what is your recommendation? We want to wait until we actually have somebody in the wings and see whether it's the tech or the associate, or how do we want to do this, you think?
Mr. Chairman, I agree. We don't have anyone hired or even on the radar yet. So as far as the budget amendment, whatever happens, if you hire a tech and at that time, I'll look at your budget and adjust it accordingly through the end of the fiscal. And then going forward, if it is a associate position, then you'll just adjust your budget request to reflect that increase in pay.
So, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, can I get approval to advertise the associate planner position up to the amount I asked? Would that be correct?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, or sorry, Mr. Chairman, budgetary, yes.
So what does everybody think? So, yeah, I like Commissioner Nick Lason's idea, though. Make sure you advertise for both of them, and let's see what falls out of the sky.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I'll be back in a couple hours with a less controversial request.
Alrighty, so moving on to Commissioner discussion about board appointments and liaisons. You all should have a sheet in front of you. I left mine that I marked up already on my desk. So I'm just that way. How do we want to handle this? Do we want to, are there any boards people absolutely positively just are dying to keep? Starting with Commissioner North.
Other than WCCA, I would personally like to stay on the rest of the boards I'm on. There is one board on here that is really not as necessarily as it once was, and that's the item V, the facility task force. Garrett did go through and get all that information. I am pleased to announce that we actually canceled our Hall of Justice and Detention Center meeting this month because we didn't have anything to approve.
Wow.
And so that's one that we can actually take off of there because we are in really good condition on those two items. So, but the rest of those,
So for the most part, you want to stay on everything you're on?
except WCCA, that one I think
Right.
needs to either be the chair or the vice chair.
See?
I don't see a lot of reason for changes. I think, since Dave's gonna have some free time, I think he'd probably be just fine on that finance investment committee.
So we're gonna flip for that.
Since we're gonna have an opening, I'll just throw him under the bus right now. But otherwise, I'm fine how it is. I don't see a lot of reason to change it up unless someone's dying to be on one of these other ones.
Okay. Commissioner Nick Lason.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I, I, uh, I don't want to be the fly in the ointment but while it's easy to just say, yeah, let's keep the status quo and move on to the next thing, I think every organization always needs to be mindful of having institutional knowledge in the composition of its board members and liaisons versus bringing in new people that might have new ideas. And yeah, they might be dumb and need to get trained up and have a learning curve. But I think we've all seen organizations our whole lives that have benefited from new people. I don't know how it's been done in the past, and I'm not sure how it's going to be done in the future. But I've been disappointed in the 3 years and 9 months I've been on this board, that we have kind of locked into our certain respective boards and not had the opportunity, not been forced to try new things, meet new people. Now, there have been a couple boards that we have rotated on and off. The library is one of those boards that I think a number of us have sat on. In fact, I think maybe all of us have been on that library board. I think that the commission ought to consider maybe a policy or a practice of having like a 2-year rotation. That would give people that are on the county commission maybe for 4 years opportunities to be on new and different boards, but not have the kind of the annual turnover of every board, which I think would be disruptive and unhelpful. Look, if you guys said, let's keep everything the same, I'm not going to object. But I think kind of looking at it from a bigger picture, rotating new people in and old people off can help these departments, these inside or outside. So I just think we should be mindful about that. I don't know whether it's very appropriate or very inappropriate for our liaison on parks to also be a board member on parks. I think that the Commissioner North, who is also chairman of the Parks Board currently, should get off that board and then can remain as a liaison. But serving in both capacities, if not a direct conflict, is certainly awkward and potentially serving two masters. So I think that's something this commission ought to be aware of. I wonder if, and Michael left, but it almost sounds like we ought to have a liaison to his or maybe a task force member to his emergency management work that he's going to be doing this year. So those are my thoughts.
Mr. Chairman.
Just a minute, sir. I actually, I know what let me get first.
Okay.
Chairman or Commissioner Nicholas, I agree with you. I think there has been stagnancy a little bit with the boards. I think moving forward as well, it'd be nice to see some change. Maybe if you want to, a little later this year, we can discuss that. But it's 2, 3 potentially members of this board that are only going to be here for 1 more year. So I think that disruption that you're talking about of just being there 1 year may not be beneficial for some of these boards. But with that said, I would prefer myself to step down from the Economic Development Board, Joint Powers Board, so that one of the 2 that are staying, or 3 that are staying, can take my seat and actually have some of that historical knowledge. I also think I'd like to step away from the school recreation board. Dallas, I think this would be a fantastic board for you. The school rec board. Groups come in front of you like Boys and Girls Club. They are looking for grants and you get to give away money and it's a good programs and there's a lot of good feelings there. So I'd like to step away from that so that some people can experience that feeling of being able to help like that. Also, the finance committee, obviously, I think Casey, with you being here longer than me, as far as next year, I'd like to see you take the WCCA board so that you can develop those relations with other commissions within the state and with the board itself down there. Yeah, and then I don't know. Then there's the fair board. If you want it, you can have it.
Thank you. But let me say this. I'm good with your appointments. Give me whatever you want to give me. Take it. Or not take it. Whichever way you feel best about it.
How about me and you talk about that one later? So with that, I'd like to see Casey with WCCA, Dave or Casey with the economic development item I. And then Dallas, I'd really like to see you. I think you'd really enjoy item J, the rec board. I really do. It's a fun, nice board to be on.
Assign it to me.
Okay. And then we'll talk about that one. The finance committee, you want Dave on that instead of you? You said Casey.
I think Dave said he'll take that one if, and then I'll do the economic development unless Dallas wants that, but I'm happy to join that one.
Do what?
So this,
You're on my bad ear, that's why I can't.
Yeah, so you don't want on the economic development, I can tell you already, because you have to sign a non-disclosure.
there you go.
Yeah, I don't like that idea.
So,
Okay, I'll do that.
alrighty. Mr. North.
The only thing I was gonna say was on the Parks Board that we all agreed on, but we were all on there when we passed the bylaws. It specifically says in there that if there is a commissioner on the board, that they will also be the liaison. That's actually in the bylaws that we all voted to pass earlier this year. And it, right along with that, it says that there's not a problem with the commissioner being on the Parks Board. So just for clarity, I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that is in those bylaws, and this board doesn't have the authority to change those, only the Parks Board does. So.
Alright, so where are we at with anything else? I wouldn't mind being on the EAP if we do have a liaison or anything like that, to work with
What?
the emergency action plan that we were just describing. It's kind of up my alley, I'd say.
Yes, Chairman. I think that'd be entirely appropriate for the chairman to be on there to help facilitate that with the other electeds. So,
I agree 100%.
So is this where we want to sit? Everybody satisfied? Any boards that you absolutely want to be on?
This Memorial Hospital Board, Mr. Nicolaus has really done most of the work there, and I think I had said at one time I was withdrawing from that because he had it well in hand.
Okay.
And I think that I probably should anyway, because I could have a conflict with my personal business and that particular board.
Commissioner Nicolason,
Nicolaus is, he's
Did you
pretty
take
on
that?
top of that.
that's fine. Okay. So item X, Michelle would be Peter.
Okay, so for clarification, WCCA, item A is gonna be Casey Coates.
Yes.
B is staying the same. C staying the same, D the same. Our next change, you're gonna stay on advanced Casper, Jim?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I just need clarification on economic development number I. Dave and Casey, Peter, are you stepping down from that one? I know there was discussion of those two.
Serve where the chair wants me to serve.
I'd like to see Peter stay there
Okay.
if you're willing, Peter.
Okay, so economic development, we need two commissioners on that one. Who will be on
Right.
that? Perfect, sorry, there was just bouncing around. Okay, item J, the Natrona County Rec Board, the school board, that one is changing to Dallas. And then item K, all the way down to V, there is no change. And then item W, it's gonna be, the Finance and Investment Committee is gonna be Nicolason and North,
Yes.
okay? And I will, yeah, I'll update.
I think we can get rid of V because that one's really not.
So we can go away with that
Yeah,
one?
I think, yeah, because that's the one that I was talking about that we're
Okay, perfect.
pretty well, Garrett's gotten everything pretty much taken care of, and with the building evaluation and everything else that was done, that was the reason why we initiated that, so that's pretty much taken care
Okay,
of.
so the Memorial Hospital, moving on to liaisons, because I keep the, where you guys are actually voting members and liaisons separate. The Memorial Hospital Board of Trustees, we haven't done anything with that for a while, but it's gonna change to Nicolason. And then no other changes. Now, I did make a change this year, just so you guys are aware. I did remove the Natrona County Parks Board of Trustees as a liaison, since we already had commissioners on there. So if that does need to change at any time, you guys just gotta direct me. And then the Emergency Management Action Task Force, we're gonna have, Milton.
Yep.
Does that all sound right?
Jim and I are gonna talk about the Central Wyoming Fairgrounds.
And that one, we can edit if we need to.
Yeah.
Well, because what we'll do is we'll have these on the agenda, and then you guys, when you guys approve the consent agenda, you guys, so, today is only a discussion item. Today is just discussion.
Right.
So, at the next meeting, you guys will approve the changes. So you guys will have some time to discuss.
Michelle, just for clarification, Regional Water needed to have something today after today's meeting.
I'm aware. I
Okay,
have the meeting, or I have the email from Regional Water in my email, but I did tell her that you guys had to discuss it first
okay.
before anything could be done. But as soon as I know, I will notify all the boards, and then at the next meeting, you guys can officially adopt.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, if everybody's satisfied, moderately so, we'll move on to Ashley. Any legal updates we can talk about here?
I don't have a whole lot. So, as you all know, Lita Pullman is no longer with us. I've been focusing on obviously doing the Title 25s. We were short-staffed as my one support staff was on vacation, and then the other support staff also left. So it was just me for the last 2 weeks. And then top of the Title 25s, I've just been reviewing some contracts for different departments, as well as answering questions or small legal issues that they've had. But that's been the focus. But now that Felicia's back, I can start focusing on some other projects too.
Anybody have any questions
Just-
on that?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question on the consent, and it's just for my own clarification. I noticed that we have a water tap on 7 Mile for Western Agricultural Products. I know that's into Pioneer, or is that into Regional? I'm not sure which one that is, or if that's something that we do on a regular basis. I wasn't aware that we ever approved taps. That's the only reason why I'm asking. I thought that that was strictly either Regional Pioneer or whoever the water service was through. So I'm just asking. I don't have any problem with it. I'm just curious.
Commissioner, I had not seen it. So I know that Mike Hagler had put that on
Okay.
this from Road and Bridge.
Okay, that's what we're approving is road cut. Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. That
Makes more
thank you.
sense.
That answered that question. That was easy. It just had tap on there and it's like, boy, I don't remember us ever approving a tap. So, okay.
Any other questions for legal on that subject? We have down also the resolution 0126 T20, Title 25 Defense Attorney. Go ahead and brief us on what you want.
Yeah, so obviously I had just taken over this as well. Obviously this resolution, it would be a recommendation to the court, but I think it's important for you all to know that it's really up to the judge on who's appointed. We really don't have much of a say on that. I would note that I know that the chief judge has been very happy with Phil Willoughby's work on the Title 25s. They're comfortable with him. They're used to him. They may still choose, whether you guys pass this or not, they could still choose to have him. Really, our involvement on that side of things is very limited. Of course, because we'd handle mostly the prosecutor, not really the prosecution, but the opposing side to it. We're the ones that are bringing the Title 25s to the court.
Any questions on this one?
do.
Dallas, I'm sure. Okay, go ahead.
Not necessarily a question. Yeah, the first one would be a question. I didn't, when I looked at that resolution, I couldn't tell I didn't know any of those lawyers that are listed. Are any of them from Natrona County?
My understanding is no. I did forward you all an email that I had seen in Ms. Powman's emails, because I did get access to her emails, where we had one of the attorneys from, I think it's Cowboy Law, had sent you all a letter, just kind of giving a little bit of background on them. They are from Wyoming. They are not from Natrona County, though. And that was the only one that I had seen.
I know-
Hopefully I didn't miss anyone, but it was kind of hard with the transition.
I personally wouldn't approve submitting names of lawyers that aren't from Natrona County if we have Natrona County lawyers available. And I'm on the security committee. I have had conversation about this matter with the judges, and you're right. They're very happy with Mr. Willoughby. The clerk of court is happy with Mr. Willoughby, and he's been doing it for, I think he says 40 years. And so if you can make judges happy for 40 years, you've done something, in my humble opinion. But they also indicated they would prefer to have people from Natrona County because there's different times with them. Somebody may need to be there at 1 a.m. or some weird time when they may have to have a hearing on some of these issues. And they made it very clear they're the ones who pick the person. They're very happy because they've had other counties come in to understand our system and wanted to copy our system because it was working so well, and then it got changed. And then some things happened. 25 cases were dismissed, and my understanding was some of those people were dangerous. But they got dismissed because of something that came out of the county office, and that was a real problem. And so I don't know that we should send a resolution like this to the judges. I think they're highly capable of knowing about the attorneys and the level of work the attorney is doing. I think it's our issue about payment, but about telling them who, because I don't know any of those lawyers on that sheet. Never met any of them, so I wouldn't be willing to recommend them as even a commissioner because I just don't know anything about them. That's one of my basic problems.
Ashley, the, as the Title 25 attorney for little while now, what would your recommendation be? Where do you see this going?
Well, Commissioner, I mean, I will say, I think Title 25, especially right now for the last couple weeks, since I've been given or have the authority to handle them as I have seen fit, things have gone a lot smoother. We have fixed a lot of the issues that had occurred, especially since those 25 cases that were dismissed, I think back in May, so before I even came on board. I've been working very closely with Mr. Willoughby and as well as Bill Knight, who's the commissioner for Title 25s. The three of us have been working on figuring out how to best streamline this process or these processes, and things are going actually very well right now. I would say any issues that do pop up, we've been able to resolve them and fix them very quickly. And so I think right now we're in a very good position at the moment. I would be concerned of having someone else come in and then us obviously having to kind of train them up. And you know, how we do it here. One of the concerns I know from court is in other jurisdictions, specifically, Title 25s take all day. Thankfully, we've kind of been able to, with Mr. Willoughby's help, we've been able to kind of streamline it so that the hearings only take, you know, half an hour, a lot of times to an hour, just because we don't have to read every word of the complaint to the people and stuff like that, because he does a lot of the legwork to begin with, right? He goes over the case with his clients beforehand, goes over the rights and everything like that. So, obviously, I would be concerned about, you know, some other people stepping in. Additionally, you know, Commissioner Laird is correct. We don't have the authority to appoint the defense. And truth be told, like I would not want to be in that position because it's almost a conflict for me to, you know, to actually say, oh no, we got to appoint this person.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions on?
I think I
Mr.
should make one comment.
Can go short,
It will be.
we're
very
running,
short. It'll be less than you just commented.
whatever.
Mr. Willoughby pays a lot of credit to Ashley getting this straightened out. Thinks that she understands the Title 25s and things are back on a road where the judges are happy. And if we have happy judges, we can't ask for anything more.
Commissioner Nicolason.
I'm concerned that our memory has faded so quickly. We had spent substantial time and energy in going through this RFP process based upon some things that were presented to us as fact, based upon seeing some letters from one of the attorneys mentioned a few times in the last few minutes. We're completely aware that we don't appoint the attorney to represent people, that is the judges. That's a black robe decision, not a county commissioner decision. We have policies about when we're supposed to go through the RFP process, dollar thresholds being the primary consideration. I'm concerned that we are now talking about discarding the efforts and the conversation forgotten of the difficulties that we have been facing for more than the last 12 months. So My feeling is let the judges do their thing. We went through this process. I don't know any of these three people on the resolution, but we talked at our last meeting and there was a process and there were interviews and these people were qualified to be presented. I thought we were okay with that. I thought we were moving forward with that, and I still feel like that's the appropriate thing to do at this point. Thank you.
So I'd agree with Commissioner Nicolason as far as we do need to follow our policies that we've approved and that we should be following moving forward. While statutorily the judge may ignore our resolution, that's their prerogative per the statute, but we need to follow our policy. That's what's lined out. That's what we need to do. And it goes from there at that point. But we need to make sure that we're being fiscally responsible to the citizens of this county.
Mr. Chairman, can I say one more thing?
No.
Please.
Okay.
I'd like to commend Ashley for making progress in the relationship with Mr. Willoughby. I think that's been a good thing, and I'm pleased with her efforts there, and I'm pleased that Mr. Willoughby is apparently working in a collegial, productive manner. So maybe things will look a lot like they do today down the road. But again, I think it's the process is what counts. So thank you to Ashley, thank you to Mr. Willoughby, but I think that's where we're at.
Further comments?
I just have one. As an attorney, I don't want to be a part of a resolution that goes to these judges where I don't even know the lawyers. We didn't interview one of them. We don't know anything about them. So far, no one here has said they even know who they are. And yet we want to send some resolution handing these names down, which were compiled by a person who's no longer employed here. And, there are concerns of the reason there were problems with this. It's not Mr. Willoughby's doing. So I don't know why we would want to tell these judges, here's these three names of people that aren't even from Natrona County that none of us know and think we're complying with something we should be doing. I think if we're going to send names, we should know who the people are. I can't imagine us sending any resolution anywhere to anybody just because it's something to do, and we have to sit here and say, I don't know whether these are good people, know what they're doing, how long it'll take them to understand this. We have an acting county, our county attorney in Ashley is telling you, I think as kindly as she can, that the thing is back on the road and is working beautifully. I'm the one who has to go talk to these judges about all of this, and I know exactly what I've been told, and I'm passed that along, but I don't think, Mr. Chairman, we should send resolutions out where we're blind. Period. On anything, actually.
Okay. So, moving on to executive session. Do we need one for personnel and contracts? I believe we do. So I entertain a motion.
And for litigation.
And oh yes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. All right. We're going to break for executive session. These cards. Oh, we're out of exec. Uh, regular board meeting. In the exec, no real decisions. The only decision we came to was to ask our assistant county attorney to be acting county attorney, and she'll let us know relatively soon, hopefully. And that's basically it. No decisions other than that. And motion to go in recess.
I should go into recess till 5:30.
Second.
All in favor? Probably didn't need to do that, but whatever. We can. There you go. All right, we'll come back in session. Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the consent agenda to include indigent applications case number NCC 2025, case NA 2026-5, and case NA 2025 315.
We have a motion to amend the agenda to include indigent care. Do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. So, Michelle, you got that all taken care of? Bueno. So, with that, talked about the executive session a little bit already for some of you that are a little late. No decisions were made other than to offer Ashley the acting county attorney position. We'll hear back from her later. Do I have a motion for approval of consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it. Contracts and agreements, resolutions, we don't have any, do we? At all? Okay. So moving into public hearings. I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of MS 25-03 Tobin Edition number 2-A major subdivision request by Chapman Properties to vacate and replat all of Tobin Edition subdivision. A hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes, rules of the Natrona County Commission, and other applicable laws. Staff ready? Can we hear from you?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. As I prefaced to you earlier, this is supposed to be much less controversial. I hope I wasn't lying. As you mentioned, we are looking at case number MS 2503, major subdivision request made by Chapman Properties to vacate and replat all of the Tobin Addition subdivision. This property is currently 10 lots. The property owners would like to vacate and replat the 10 lots into 3 lots. The subdivision is currently accessed from Aurora Street. No additional roads will be created. Private roads will be used to access properties. The property owners have no plans to build residential homes at this time or in the near future. This was a plat that was created in, I think it was 1982 originally. It was never actually built. And this is another reason the property owners would like to dissolve this. This is what they would like to dissolve it to, the 3 separate lots. This was actually town of Edgerton that should have been reverted back to de-annexed from Edgerton to the county. That was all fixed this past summer. It was late summer, early fall that we got all that fixed, so this is county jurisdiction. The standards are for a major subdivision are all outlined in the packet. You can see the town of Edgerton, and then the red outline is what it's currently. A little bit closer, and then what they want it to be, and then the some of the easements. So the Natrona County Road and Bridge reviewed the plat and stated it appears that Aurora Street ends at the beginning of CR 117 East Salt Creek Road. If the access is going to be at the intersection of CR 117 at the cattle guard, there will need to be a stop sign. Coming onto our road from the south along the eastern fence line, the subdivision should have to purchase and place this sign. As you were given, I was provided this stop sign that it was installed yesterday, so I printed it out for you all. So you can stop in the name of love. It's there. You guys never laugh at my jokes. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody does. Anyway, County Fire did not make a comment. County Health Department reviewed the plat and stated we do not have Any existing information on the subdivision other than the original plat, generally increasing lot size would be more favorable to an on-site septic system. For an on-site septic system, soil data indicates clay or clay loam, which would lead to higher percolation rates. Higher percolation rates may require a professionally engineered design and or larger leach field sizes if there is future development. However, lots may be required to connect to the existing sewer system depending on proximity. We do not have any objection to the proposal to vacate and replat the subdivision, as this would assist in making conditions more favorable to development if on-site septic systems are needed. County GIS reviewed and accepted the plat after appropriate corrections were made. County assessor mapping reviewed and accepted the plat after appropriate corrections were made. County surveyor reviewed and accepted the plat after appropriate corrections were made. County records department reviewed the plat and discussed with planning technician whether or not lot and block need to be on the plat, with new lots not known by section township range. The PLS for the project stated they do not see the need for adding a block number to this, a single parcel, no dedicated streets separating or creating blocks. No further comment was received from the records department, and then the conservation district did not make a comment. Staff sent notices to 8 surrounding neighbors, and as of the date of this report, staff has not received any written comments. Staff finds the application to be complete and in compliance with zoning and subdivision codes. It recommends a due pass recommendation. The planning and zoning recommended a due pass recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners with the following condition. If access is going to be at the intersection of County Road 117 at the cattle guard, the subdivision shall purchase and erect this sign per Natrona County Road and Bridge, which has been completed. And that is all for the staff report. The agent and the applicant are here and can answer any questions, and the agent does have some more information to share.
Any questions for staff?
Good evening. Paul Svensson, land surveyor with WLC, 200 Pronghorn, Casper. We were hired by Chapman's to do the surveying for this and kind of help straighten out some of the old historic, some of the deeds that were a little bit in question. One thing we did add to this plat that's not on the one that you have on there is we extended that easterly easement. And it goes down to the sewage lagoon parcel. Yeah, the green line on the east side is the access easement to the southerly lot. And we extended that access easement to go through the buildings, and it ties into a existing easement that goes across. It was, I think, VI sheep lands at the time, and access to the Edgerton Seward Lagoon. I could kind of show you where it's at up here. That was one of the stipulations in the P&Z meeting, to get that access through there. So the landowners and the mayor of Edgerton all agreed on this route. And that was the historic route from way back when as well. I don't know what else I can add to it. That was kind of the big item.
Okay.
There.
Any questions?
Yeah, any questions?
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Can I get your name and?
My name is Brad Chapman.
Okay.
I live at 1301 Yonke Avenue, Sheridan, Wyoming. And I thank you for the opportunity to speak in favor of the proposed Tobin Edition number 2. My interest in this proposal is that I am a successor trustee in both of my parents' trusts, which hold both lots 1 and 2. Also, I am a limited partner in Chapman Real Estate Properties, which is held by the Oma J. Chapman Bypass Trust. The proposed vacation and replat of the Tobin Edition subdivision clears up the confusion of the original vacation and de-annexation. It establishes a clear chain of titles to the deeds on all 3 lots, which was part of a directive to me as a successor trustee of the William M. Chapman Trust. Also, it provides a recorded easement for the town of Edgerton to access their sewer lagoon, as well as providing a requested stop sign at the intersection of the access road and Natrona County Road number 117. These issues were discovered and resolved by Paul Svensson and staff with the WLC Engineering and Surveying, working in coordination with all the various departments of Natrona County. Thank you. And if you have any questions or need more specifics, I'll try to help you.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Chapman? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, I would ask for individuals who wish to speak in favor of consideration of MS 25-03 to approach the lectern. Second time, I'd ask those that wish to speak in favor, approach the lectern. And final time, those that wish to speak in favor, please approach the lectern. This time, I would ask individuals who wish to speak against or in opposition of consideration of MS 25-03 to approach the lectern. Second time, I'd ask those that wish to speak in opposition, please approach the lectern. And for the final time, I'd ask those that wish to speak in opposition to this, please approach. Hearing and seeing, being no others, to speak for or against consideration of MS 25-03, I now declare the public hearing closed. Is there any motions?
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we accept MS 25-03, the Tobin Edition number 2 major subdivision request for replatting.
Second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. All right. I declare the public hearing open for consideration of VC 25-04 Dooley Oil structure setbacks. A request by Dooley Oil for variance on setback requirements from a state road in the heavy industrial zoning district. The property is located at 5100 East Yellowstone Highway. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes, rules of the Natrona County Commission, and other applicable laws. Staff, you ready?
Ready. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. As you mentioned, this is case VC 25-04, request made by Dooley Oil for a variance on setback requirements from a state road in the heavy industrial zoning district. The applicant would like to build a dry shop 10 feet from the property line adjacent to the old Glenrock Highway instead of the 60-foot setback from a state, federal, or county road as stated in the 2022 Natrona County Zoning Resolution, Section 2.06.04, due to semi-truck traffic. The property is located at 5100
Sabrina,
East Yellowstone Highway.
for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you would, we're trying to hear, and it's a little difficult up here, so if you could keep your comments to yourselves or go out to the hall, please. Thank you. Sabrina, please continue.
The property is located approximately 0.35 miles west of the East Yellowstone Highway and Lathrop Road intersection on the north side of the East Yellowstone Highway. It is zoned heavy industrial. It's a minimum of 2 acres in that zoning district. The current use is commercial. To the north is a use control area, which is owned by Sinclair Oil Refinery. To the east is heavy industrial. To the south is the Old Glen Rock Highway, which is also East Yellowstone Highway. And to the west is light industrial, but it is also Evansville jurisdiction on the east, or on the west side, excuse me. The minimum setbacks for heavy industrial are 60 foot adjacent to all federal, state, and county roads, and 40 foot adjacent to all other roads. Excuse me, I forgot my slides. So if you look here on the slides, if you remember going across East Yellowstone, Old Glen Rock Highway is between East Yellowstone and the property. Old Glen Rock Highway is still a state road. We did check with YDOT on this, so it qualifies as the 60-foot adjacent setback. The minimum setback from residential zoning is 150 feet. There's no residential in this area. After reviewing the criteria for approval, in the case of VC 25-04, a request for a zoning variance of the lot size is 2.82 acres. Due to semi-truck traffic, the new proposed building location would allow semi-trucks to safely travel around the new building to the fueling location. So on this map, you can see north arrow is pointing straight up. There's an existing, I know this is kind of hard to read, but the existing building is further to the north. The proposed building is further to the south. You can see, so the white rectangle is the existing building. Oh, sorry, wrong direction. So this is the proposed route these trucks travel, and the applicant can explain more about this, but this would be able to get around the proposed building without them traveling across the existing pad that's there for refueling. The property line setback from the edge of the roadway would be approximately 25 feet. The applicant is requesting a variance to construct the building another 10 feet further away from the edge of the roadway, providing a total setback of approximately 35 feet. The building would be set back approximately 43 feet from the center line of the roadway. The property to the west of this location, as you can see here, which would be on the left, toward the left side of the property, hosts a building with approximately the same setbacks as requested by this variance. That location is not known to be a detriment to travel or visibility to motorists. So for planning consideration, staff received the following comments. Natrona County Road and Bridge made the following comment: if this is Yellowstone, it would be a question for YDOT. Now, it's not a county road. County Fire made no comment. YDOT made the following comments. The road does fall under YDOT. We typically defer to local rules regarding building setback. The biggest concern for buildings at or near the property line would be sight distance for vehicles accessing the property, but we don't have any specific rules. No comments, we defer to local regulations. So staff recommendations: the staff finds the application for a variance complete and that the request is in compliance with items 1 through 7 of the approval criteria shown above. The staff proposes, so the planning and zoning did recommend approval to you all with all items in conformance with current zoning resolution and all conditions. Staff finds that VC 25-04 to be complete and in compliance and acceptable, and the applicant is here for any questions.
Mr. Chairman. Sabrina, just for clarification, property, they're actually going to have an offset that's further back from the property line to the west, correct? Where the building is, as far as where they're talking about building, it's actually going to sit further in the property than that property line is on the west, correct?
Correct.
And why is that allowed in the property on the west?
Mr. Chairman and Mr. North, that property is zoned for is Evansville's jurisdiction.
Okay, so that's basically the only difference. They're side by
Correct.
side, so we're not asking for anything that's that's abnormal or is going to give them any benefit other than what their neighbors already have?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Thanks, Sabrina. No, did you want to make a statement?
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Sorry. Sabrina, given that the property adjacent to the west is Evansville, were they notified of the application?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Nicolason, usually we will give it to the property owner, not the jurisdiction. So it would have gone to Sonny's RV, not Evansville.
So setting aside this, which I don't have a problem with, do we have in our regulations notification to municipalities or towns, other jurisdictions that might be impacted?
Yes, sir. If there is an annexation or a major subdivision, those are required to notify jurisdictions within 1 mile.
Okay, so kind of on the bigger stuff, not
Yes.
a variance. I think there could be some variances, though, that another jurisdiction might have concerns with. I'm sure they wouldn't with this. So anyway, just food for thought on bigger picture stuff.
Good evening, gentlemen. Don Brennan, 6005 Overlook Way, Evans Mills, Wyoming. I am the general manager of Dooley Oil. And to your question, yes, they were notified, and I was notified by both Sonny's RV that sits to the west and Magellan Pipeline via phone call to me that said, yes, we received the notification in the mail, and we have no problem with what you're doing. So that notification was sent out. We intend to put a dry storage building there. The traffic pattern, if we go with the 60-foot setback, puts the edge of the building on top of the fuel island by about 10 feet. That limits the semi-truck traffic, the customers that we already have, from either entering from the west or entering from the east and filling their semis, which most of the truck traffic that we have is about 110 feet long, which is a semi, tractor, and pup. To navigate that with that being the building being so close to that pad, there's the risk of running into the building at all times. We did look at alternative sites to put this building. One was to the north behind our existing, but you can kind of faintly make out the power lines that go ahead of that. And those are high tension power lines that supply power to Sinclair Refinery and to Magellan Pipeline that's to the east of us. So that was not a viable option. We're kind of landlocked on the east side. The vacant area that's there is owned by Magellan Pipeline, which there's pipes that go underground that supply the Phillips 66 pipeline for a refueling station. To the west of us, there just wasn't enough room to the west to put in a building to expand and grow. In answer to your question, sir, is that yes, the building setback is 10 feet from the prior. There's nothing that can be built to the east because of the pipeline, so there's full visibility on the east. We would actually be 10 feet back from that building that's to the west. If you have any other questions, feel free to answer.
Any discussion? Questions?
No, I'm fine. I agree.
It sounds like we're all good to go, so
Okay.
thank you, sir.
Good deal.
All right, at this time, I would ask those individuals that wish to speak in favor of consideration of VC 25-04 to approach the lectern.
Don DeBrenz, 6005 Overlook Way, Mills, Wyoming, and I am in favor of this.
Sir?
Paul Svensson, the surveyor, WLC 200 Pronghorn, Casper. I'm in favor of it. We had helped Dooley Oil out with quite a bit of this work over the last, like, 3 years, I believe.
Thank you. So for the second time, those that wish to speak in favor, please approach the lectern. Third call, those in favor of this, please approach the lectern. Seeing no more, this time I'd ask those individuals that wish to speak in opposition of consideration of VC 25-04 to approach the lectern. Second call, those that wish to oppose this, please approach the lectern. And third call, those wish to speak in opposition of consideration, please approach the lectern. Seeing none, close or no others to speak for or against, will consideration of VC 25-04. Now declare the public hearing closed. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I would make a motion to approve VC 25-04, the variance requested.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. No. All right, passed. So we'll be moving on to public comments. Anyone wish to make public comment to us? Let us, yes, sir.
Is this open for general public comment or?
General public comment. We're to that point.
Pardon?
We're to that point of the night.
Okay, good. I'll keep it short. I have 5 minutes, right?
That's it. No more. Well, for you, maybe about 2.
I understand, Your Honor, and it's good to see you sitting there.
How you doing?
It's good to see all of you today, commissioners, and I appreciate this opportunity. I've prepared this little handout, which just consists of things that I'm
Would say
discussing
your
today.
name and
Pardon?
address.
Thank you. You can tell I've been out of this. My name is Thomas Green. I'm an attorney in Casper, Wyoming. And my address is 2898 Garden Creek Road here in Casper. And for sake of full transparency, I've been retained to represent Commissioner North with regard to the matter that I have set forth in this file folder to you. And so today, however, I'm not here at the request of Commissioner North. He actually wanted me to keep this rather low-key and was hoping that you would just drop this matter completely on yourself without any input from me. But I'm here on my own volition because I don't think that will happen from what I've seen. And so I am here to try to persuade you, all of you, to drop this matter forthwith and don't raise it again. And the reason being that this has been initiated illegally. It does not have any legal basis. There is no legal authority for the action that's been proposed in this. I know this for a fact. I don't come to these meetings ill-prepared. I've done all the research. There is not a single shred of authority for any cause to remove Commissioner North from the Parks Board. He can only be removed for cause. No one has any cause. No cause is alleged. In fact, the only thing that's alleged was alleged by Commissioner Nicholson at your last meeting on December 16th. That's why I've included a transcript of that, of what he stated in that meeting. And I'd like to read that for the record. I sent an email to the commission and council today that regarding parks and my position as a member, a board of trustee or a member of the board of trustees, and I have become convinced that there are conflicts of interest in or potential conflicts of interest for BOCC members to also serve as a member of the statutory Parks Board. Having BOCC members also serve as Parks Board members does a disservice to the county and parks, And despite some people's perceived self-importance and value to that board, I think it is a bad idea for commissioners to be on it. People, members of the public that use the parks and employees of the Parks Department deserve better. I announced as of about noon today, that I resigned as trustee, as a member of that Natrona County Parks Board, and I encourage the remaining BOC members to do the same immediately. The email that Commissioner Nicolason referred to is also attached here. For the record, I have provided a copy of all this to Tracy Good as well, so it will be in the record for the public to obtain if they want it. Attached to that is the exact email that Commissioner Nicolason stated that he had sent to all the commissioners. You'll notice that from the heading of that email, not only did he send it to all commissioners, he sent it to Ashley Smith, Deputy County Attorney, and to Lita Pojman, I don't know how you pronounce that, D County Attorney at that time, and to Michelle Maines, indicating, I believe by that he was trying to conduct official county business by this email. What else would it portray? What would anybody else think by reading that, other than this was official county business? He stated in this email basically what he stated before you at the last hearing on the 16th. And he concluded by stating, down at the bottom, I've underlined it in yellow, having BOCC members also serve as parks and board members does a disservice to the county and our parks, despite some people's perceived self-importance and value to members of the parks. Oh, excuse me, that apparently is cut off at the end there. And also to parks and employees of the Parks Department expect and deserve better. Then he concluded, accordingly, effective immediately, I hereby resign as a trustee and board member of the Natrona County Parks Board. I strongly encourage the remaining BOCC members to do the same, and if they do not, I will prepare a memo setting forth the facts and law which I believe support their removal. First of all, this information, both before you and in this email, this little sentence here, that despite some people's perceived self-importance, it shows that there's animosity, a personal vindictive plan going about. It doesn't show professionalism or that he has official county business necessarily in mind. It shows a deep-rooted animosity. So he stated his intentions about preparing a memo to you with the facts and the law, which he believes would support their removal. Right after that, Commissioner Milne, you resigned from that office as well as a trustee. So from an outside viewer like myself that was watching that, I said, this is really coordinated. He sent the email first. Now he's put it on the record in an official meeting here, and you resigned immediately after he did that. It appears to be a very coordinated and planned out maneuver to set the stage, lay the foundation to remove Commissioner North from the Parks Board. The first thing that came to my attention from that was, am I out of time already? Okay, I came here for only one purpose. I am out of time now? Okay, I will just conclude it. I've given to you everything you need to see that this is illegal. It's in violation of the open meeting law, which carries criminal penalties. I just wanted to communicate to you like I always do. I never take action unless I tell people in advance. I'm here to tell you, if you want to hear any more or ask any questions, I'm perfectly willing to provide that, certainly. I understand I'm out of time. If you drop this and don't raise it anymore, we will do the same. We will drop it and not do anything more. If you continue this in any vein, I'm here, and I'm representing Commissioner North, and we will go to the wall. Thank you very much.
Don't fall there. All right, sir?
Come at peace, love, and no war.
How about giving us your name and address first?
I'm Ryan Perry, 324 Curtis Street, Evansville. Could you? That's my medical cannabis card for Oklahoma. And just for the record, Sergeant Hoffman, I haven't consumed any cannabis or anything since I've been in Wyoming, okay? Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for allowing me to speak today. I'm here to talk about medical cannabis, but more importantly, I'm here to talk about healthcare access, constitutional rights, and the very real human cost of the policies we continue to enforce in Wyoming. Article 1, Section 38 of the Wyoming Constitution is titled Right to Healthcare Access. It states that each competent adult has the right to make his or her own healthcare decisions. It affirms that patients may pay directly for healthcare and providers may accept that payment without penalties or fines. It allows the legislature to impose only reasonable and necessary restrictions to protect public health and welfare. It places an affirmative duty on the state of Wyoming to preserve these rights from undue governmental infringement. Medical cannabis falls squarely within those protections. At the federal level, the government has now admitted what patients have known for decades, that cannabis has legitimate medical value. By moving it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, Schedule 1 meaning it has no accepted medical use, cannabis no longer fits that definition. Yet here in Wyoming, patients are still criminalized. I'm not speaking about this in the abstract. I've lived it. I was subjected to this very type of prosecution. What amounted to 3 very small charges, less than 3 grams in total, resulted in the loss of my rights of citizenship. I am effectively a political refugee because of cannabis-related enforcement. What should have been, at most, a modest fine became years of my life destroyed. I was placed on probation under conditions that made compliance nearly impossible. I was required to complete an intensive outpatient treatment, even though the professional running that program told me directly, and my probation officer, that I did not need it, that the seat should have gone to someone struggling with heavy drug use. But without completing that program, I could not complete probation. At the same time, my employment required me to work out of town. That conflict made compliance impossible. When I did the responsible thing and turned myself back in, I was sentenced to 6 months straight. No good time. 6 months of 6 months of incarceration for nonviolent, victimless crime. There should have been a $100 fine, not a year of hell. We as taxpayers pay roughly $50,000 per person per charge per year of incarceration or probation. That money is not saving lives. It is destroying them. It is breaking families. It is destabilizing employment, housing, and mental health. And this burden falls especially hard on our veterans and our cancer patients. Wyoming veterans deserve better access to treatment. They deserve better health care. They deserve doctors trained in all available options, just not pharmaceuticals, but alternatives that may reduce reliance on opioids, alcohol, and medications that carry serious risks. Across this country, veterans have testified that medical cannabis has helped them manage chronic pain, PTSD, sleep disorders, and trauma with nothing else worked. Denying them that option does not protect them. It abandons them. Reasonable regulation is appropriate. No one here is asking for chaos. But criminalization, incarceration, and lifelong consequences for patients go far beyond reasonable and necessary restrictions. They represent undue governmental infringement, which our Constitution explicitly instructs the state of Wyoming to prevent. The war on cannabis has destroyed more lives and families than it has ever saved. County commissioners may not write state laws, but you are our leaders. You see the jail overcrowding. You see the cost. You see the damage done to working people, veterans, and families. I urge you to support policies and resolutions that treat medical cannabis as a healthcare issue, not a criminal one, that respects constitutional rights, reduce taxpayer burden, and put patients first. Thank you for your time, your service, and your willingness to listen.
Sir, I appreciate you coming forward and talking to us, right, about this. We can't affect anything ourselves, but this is good practice for you to talk to the legislature.
Yeah, that's where I went to the city council when the little boy drowned and we got all the life jacket stands. But I'm just the guy trying to start the snowball. And then you guys have a bigger voice than me going to the legislature in Denver County. We all know Denver County long before they implemented medical or anything there. Denver County said that it was legal to carry now. It's all I'm asking for is you to change it to where we're not going to put people on probation. We're going to make it $100 fine up to a certain amount that you can possess is a fine.
Again, that's legislature, not us. So, but
I mean, they have
I'm glad you came forward. But
they have discretion when arresting people. They don't have to do the full law.
make sure you talk to our representatives that are local, okay? Thank you. And any further public comments? Seeing nobody jumping up to say anything, we'll go to commissioner comments. Commissioner North.
Congratulations to you and Casey. I'm very confident that you will lead us diligently and well this next year, and I look forward to our meetings.
Commissioner Coates.
I want to thank Dave and Dallas for getting us through last year. I know it wasn't a unpleasant experience. It was a learning experience for everybody, so I appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to the year, and I think continue to do good things. That's all I have tonight.
Commissioner Laird.
I too congratulate you, Mr. Milne. You're the senior person on this.
You can't say that
commission.
to many people, can you?
No, you can't. I can't say that to hardly anybody anymore, but you are, and you deserve the job. And Casey will be a great vice person. I want to comment on a recent case that has been in the newspaper, and it's against one of our legislators, Bill Alamand, and there have been some comments about. I was surprised that lawyers making comments that someone should resign or whatever and insinuate someone's guilt, when our Constitution of the United States says quite clearly that people are innocent until proven guilty. I've lived by that particular constitutional amendment since I became a lawyer in 1971. And I've tried a lot of criminal cases where people were alleged to be guilty and supposedly had committed heinous crimes, and the paper printed it all, and then we had trials and the people were found innocent. One of the things I learned that sometimes you just can't believe everything you read in the newspaper. I know Bill Alamand. He's been chosen by the public to be a state legislator, and I think he should enjoy our Constitution, which is that he's presumed innocent until and unless he's proved guilty, because we all get that treatment. Now, somebody who was pretty funny, I guess he may have said, according to the paper again, that he was drinking a Michelob Light Ultra, and somebody said, well, that's almost laughable because nobody's ever been known to get drunk on that kind of beer because it hardly has any alcohol in it. I thought it was an interesting comment, but drinking and driving is a problem. And a lot of people have done it, gotten away with it. And I think that it's, I even had billboards about it, about DUI, about not drinking and driving. And so everybody understands that, but I hope everybody understands that people who are charged with it, their record has to be looked at, the jury has to take a look at it, the state has to prove the person's guilty. People can drink a beer or whatever and not be drunk under our law. I know people who haven't had anything to drink and did kind of goofy driving, and for various reasons. So I wish Bill the best, and that justice is done, whichever side of that he falls on. But that the justice is rendered by people who hear the evidence, which is either a judge or a jury. And I hope all of our citizens get that treatment. Have a good evening, everyone.
And Commissioner Nicolason.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Vice Chairman. I think that we're going to have a great year, and I think we're going to get a lot of good things done. I look forward to a lot of discussion about a county administrator to see if Natrona County should implement that. I think there are a lot of things to consider in that analysis, fiscally, operationally, structurally. But I know there are potentially a lot of merits to it. I'm not sure exactly how it might fit our situation, but that'll be one of the things that we'll look forward to discussing. The health department building is, I believe, fully furnished now, and it is well ahead of schedule, well under budget. We're going to be really pleased. We've already heard the monies that are not really coming back, but that are unexpended on the project. So that's a good thing for this commission and for all those involved to be proud of. We had a really good team, and it's been a great thing, and I think it'll be a good thing for the next few generations of people utilizing the public health services that it provides. You know, I guess we, at least I was surprised to be confronted for the very first time, not by Commissioner North, but by counsel who could have reached out to me. As a member of the Wyoming Bar, my information is available to him, and I'm a little surprised that they decided to handle it this way. I think it's not probably a great way to start the new year. So I'm disappointed that people can't have conversations. I do think that there are substantial problems with Commissioner North continuing to serve both as a county commissioner and as a Board of Trustee member. The acts that I have taken and the emails I've sent and the statements I've made have been my own, not rendered on behalf of this board, and never have you or will you find that I am trying to speak for this board, but I continue to speak to matters that I think are not in the county's best interest. And my feeling is that if there are conversations to be had in public, we can have those. If there are conversations to be had in private, we can have those. One thing ethically I should clarify as a member of the bar, Mr. Green, I need your permission to continue to talk to your client in matters not related to apparently the one you've been retained to represent him on. Do I have your consent as his counsel?
I'll leave it in his good hands. If he desires in that situation to talk with you, then he's certainly open to do that, and I don't see any conflicts
Well, and I need your permission as his counsel since I'm also an attorney.
Certainly have my permission, only if he grants his permission.
Well, whether he engages with me is really his call, but
Or with his, if they wish.
I don't have anything further. Thank you.
Alrighty, short and sweet from me, like usual. I do appreciate everybody's vote of confidence. Hopefully we'll have a spectacular year where not a whole lot happens that causes a lot of trials and tribulations. Yeah, let's just everybody remember we're here to do the people's business and move forward. Thank you and good night.